right. Welcome, people, to episode number 23. I can't believe I'm saying episode number 23 of Reptiles and Cocktails today. And our guest is no other than Reggie Johnson from Reggie's Urban Jungle. Definitely will be a fun one for me. If you're in the reptile community, you know who he is. But there are a lot of people who are in the reptile community and they're very humble. So you don't know as much as you could know about them because they are very humble, and that's awesome. And Reggie is one of those people. I know that for a lot of people that I share my platform with and that I spend a lot of time with, they always, the most consistent name that comes up as far as help, as far as brand, as far as know-how in the community, as far as that one or two people that everybody absolutely love. And I know the reason why. I have learned something from him. And we'll talk about that when we get Reggie on. But he is definitely the constant in this community, regardless if it's the top breeder, new breeder, someone who's just starting into this whole atmosphere. Reggie is that guy that you always get that positive energy about. So I'm very excited to have him on. And I am just going to get it started. Definitely, it's going to be a fun one because there are things that I know about Reggie and there's things that I don't know about him because he's also very not so transparent, to everyone. So we're going to use this opportunity for you guys to get to know a little bit more, ask your questions, and then kind of dive into and pull back the pages of who he really is. So let's go. Welcome, Reggie.
Hello. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
So definitely, I will say we know each other a little bit. We admin the group together. Yep. Reggie is always that one who just knows his place, right? And I will say, though, in the reptile community, I know that you know your place, but you're very, very kind of like, this is what I do and I'm here. You don't have to be in the forefront of everything. You kind of like just being in the cut, but you are a key driver to a lot of us in this community. So just start off, because a lot of the people who watch my show are not breeders. Some of them are people who are just intrigued by all of you that I bring on, actually. So if you can just go and tell us a little bit about you, and I'm going to go into some additional questions, but tell us what you want us to know about Reggie Johnson now.
Well, just like everybody else in the hobby, I'm just trying to have a successful season, have healthy babies. I tell people all the time, whether I was getting money from the hatchlings or not, I would still have 100+ snakes because it's just something I like to do. The genetics, I love learning. I know a lot, but there's so much more I can learn from veterans in the game, new people in the game. I'm also a full-time single father. I'm a high school educator. I'm a former exotic animal trainer. I try to stay busy. I'm simple. I like to float in the background and keep my toe in the door so it don't close all the way.
Yep. So Reggie said something very funny. He's simple. And then y'all heard all the things that came in the monologue. And we're going to kind of dive into those separately. For me, I learned something new today. I always knew that Reggie was a very active father. I mean, I've seen him do his daughter's hair and everything. But I had no idea that you were a full-time father. Yes. So can you just share a little bit about how do you balance that? Because he's also a teacher, right?
Yep. Teacher, high school basketball coach.
Full-time breeder and full-time father. What is that balance like for you?
Luckily for me, my daughter is very involved in everything that I do. She loves to learn. She loves the animals. She loves sports. So whatever I do, she's right there learning with me from a young age. So I think it benefits her. Her birthday is actually next Friday, so she will be 10 next week. And she's very wise beyond her years. She speaks 5 languages. She's learning genetics. She's building apps in her 5th grade class, or she will be in the 5th grade But yeah, so she loves to learn and I love to teach, and you know, she's my right hand, so everything I'm learning she's learning right with me. So hopefully in the future she has many different options and whatever she wants to do, whether it be college, start a business, be an entrepreneur, anything of that nature. So it's really not that hard because whatever I'm doing she's doing it right there with me. So I got a sidekick, a partner, you know, many broke best friend. So I love it.
Definitely a twin, because that child is definitely yours. Trying to deny that when in court, the judge is going to throw the whole book at me, right?
Absolutely.
Couldn't deny her. She is identical to you and just a lighter version. That's it. That's
Yeah,
your whole
she's
face.
half Mexican and Puerto Rican, so she's my Hispanic twin.
But you're also mixed, right?
Yeah, I'm half white. Yep.
Yeah.
So my
Right. And
child
that's
is a
something
little
that
mixed.
people wouldn't even know, right?
I'm a little on the darker side, but yes, I am biracial.
Yep. And which is definitely, I think, also, I think that you present all the time so well. And Reggie and I have like a background. So even in private conversations, I admire your way of communicating. I had made a post the other day about my husband and what he would say about a calm husband needs a dramatic wife, right? So when Reggie and I were in a group together, Reggie was always the calm, and I'm always here. I'm always here. I'm always here. But I think that just you having that poise in your spirit is what drives a lot of people to you. I know that it's the one thing that wouldn't drive me away from you. I think that it was the thing for me that regardless, even if we had differences, that you have to respect who this individual is as an individual first.
Absolutely.
But then as a breeder, I will tell you that the questions that I had for you in the beginning, and a lot of people, I know AJ always say from FNA that you have been integral in them actually being where they are today. So if I learned anything from you, and I'll share that now, and I want you to tell me, because I know that you watch my podcast, if you notice a difference in me. Do you notice a difference in me? Just
You seem
honestly.
more you seem more comfortable, you seem happier, you seem more knowledgeable with yourself, and you're getting a grasp of it, you're becoming your own. I think in the beginning you were like, am I supposed to be here? But you found yourself and you're like, I'm supposed to be here. So it's only going up from there. So it's a beautiful thing to see the progression of where you started and where you're at now and where you're gonna be years from now.
So I really appreciate that. So I did some things very intentionally, and I share that with other people who are transcending into how where they want to be in this. Reggie knows I have a big mouth, so I knew that I always wanted to do a podcast, but I wanted the podcast to not be. I'm not a expert in reptile breeding. If any of y'all know that, if you talk to me, you already know that. But I am a perfect pet owner, and that's what I always kind of like put myself out there on. But as I transcend into reptile breeding, this podcast has brought to me some very strong knowledge, people I can lean on to make sure I do this thing right. And you've definitely been one of them. I mentioned in my monologue of you that two of my very first breeding animals come from Reggie, and I knew that I wanted to get my first animals from certain breeders, and Reggie was definitely one of them. And I'm gonna tell you why. So a lot of people talk about how social media is used for breeding. I saw Reggie's animals all the time because he would do lives. I saw how he took care of them. I was just amazed at the system he used to track everybody and everything. So, Reggie, I am going to ask you to kind of go through the program. And now that I'm more in tune, no, guys, it's a program that he actually had designed. It's not a program that's already out there. Let's start there. But talk about how do you track your breeding plans? How do you set up your tubs? Like all those things that's important for new breeders to know to be successful.
So identification is very important especially when you're working in double, triple, and quad recessives, you have a lot of powerful looking normals. So identification is very important to me. So I had a software developed. My friend, she's a software engineer, and she created my own tracking system. It does clutches, pairings, new additions, who I've sold to, had, all the critical information that I need, pairings, ovulations, and everything's interconnected with the ID number of each individual animal that I produce here and whatever animal I put in the system. I do a lot of multiple data entry. So I have Google Sheets. I have a right here. I keep all my clutch cards. So if I have a physical version, in case my laptop crashes, I have it backed up to my Google Drive in case I lose the physical version. So I like to keep track of it. I have if you see, you really can't see behind me, but all the labels are color coded by year. I have tags with names on them in case I got to switch the tubs. I have the size of the rodent that they need for that particular time written on the tub, whether it be mice, soft furs, rats. I'm never going to say you can have too much information on your animals, but on the back of my ID cards, let me see. I have who I got them from, what date I got them, if they don't have a birth date, who the parents were. So I'm very strict on that. My feeding system, I feed anything under 500 grams twice a week, the appropriate size. Anything over 500 once a week, and then gravid or breeding females, I feed as they eat. So I do that. I check every morning before I go to work, every single tub. And then before I go to bed, like the other day, I checked my, I want to say it was my GHI banana blackhead female. That morning, she didn't lay eggs. I did a 10-hour day. Right before I went to bed, checked her, boom, 7 eggs. So that's why it's very important to check your animals. Well, at least with the large number that I have. You check them multiple times a day because you never know.
Right.
I like to check for respiratory infections, mites. I try to be proactive with mites. I use Frontline. I quarantine like everybody else, so I do that. But when I do a full tub change every 6 weeks, I wipe them down one good time. You never know what could happen. You could go to a reptile show, a pet shop. It could come in on some cocoa block. But I try to be preactive because once you get mites in a collection of my size, it's about a 6-month journey to get rid of them fully. So,
and someone actually made a good comment about the other day, like even if you're not going to reptile shows, because and even if the animals are being shipped and they're coming through the same hub, and let's say it's a box in that hub that snake has mites, and
this
you got to come in all these different breeds.
Yep. It's happened to me before. That's why you quarantine. It's very important.
But that was something I'd never even thought of until about a month ago. I don't know, probably on a podcast or something like that. Someone mentioned it. It actually was on maybe Craft's podcast. And we were talking about why the importance of quarantine. And I learned the hard way. I did this for years without quarantining animals. And then one time, I won't even talk about it. But from that point on, I just quarantine everything. I said there's a couple exceptions, and even then I can't say it's not quarantine. It's just not maybe in a whole different level of the house or something like that from before. But I will say that the importance of that, you don't want to learn it the hard way, because like Reggie said, now my collection, these were all pets at that time, but I still had a lot of pets. And in order for you to know that you've actually eradicated the problem, you have to treat everything. You can't partially treat it.
Look, you got to do carpet, you got to do stuff in your storage bin, around your work desk, everything, walls, because it only takes one little mite with one egg sac, and you think you got everything. 13 days later, you got to start the whole process over again. And I also learned from one of my mentors, Will, from RCR. He said, you may buy an animal in perfect condition from another collection, but your environment that the animal is going to is probably different. So it takes an adjustment period. So that animal you may have bought may have not had a respiratory infection when you bought it, but your condition, your environment is different, so it has to adjust. So it's just like when we fly to other countries, we're perfectly healthy over here, they're perfectly healthy over there, but we're not used to the environment, the bacteria, the things over there. So you may in fact buy a completely healthy animal, but if I'm in Michigan and I buy a snake from California, those are two completely different environments, and it takes an acclimation period for that animal to get adjusted. So there may be a little sickness in between that acclimation period. So that's also something else people need to think about.
I believe that with a lot of animals, but I will tell you that even when you talk about like respiratory infections, I think there's certain parts of the country that you live in that you're more prone to get those than other parts of the country. Because I still to date, knock on wood, have not yet had to deal with a respiratory infection of any pet or any breeder. And I think it's because Maryland and how our air is, even in the wintertime, it's dry air. Even in the wintertime, summertime, it's hot, but it's still dry air. So I think that like in other places where it might be a little bit more humid.
Michigan, I'm surrounded by the Great Lakes, so our humidity is quite high for the majority of the year.
Like if you talk to a lot of people in Florida, like they dealt with it more. And I think that plays a big part in it too. But again, that's why it's important that what I love about having all of these podcasts out there. Like someone mentioned that it's just too many. It's never too many because everybody is talking about different things. And I learn something every time I'm watching somebody else's podcast about either reptile care. And I've been doing it for 32 years, taking care of reptiles. Or from breeding, which is all new to me. But every single time I'm on somebody else's podcast, it's like a aha moment. You didn't even know that situation, like what you just talked about, that makes perfectly good sense. A plane ride could change the health of an animal.
Absolutely.
I, for one, get sick anytime I'm on a plane. The air, because people like to blow the air, and it just doesn't work for me. So I have to adjust wherever we go, especially if we go from like Maryland to the Caribbean. That first day is me adjusting to the air, humidity, and all of and everything is all messed up. Chest, everything. So that's a perfectly good example of why we do these podcasts, because you learn so much. So.
And then different people from different areas. Oh, I was gonna say then different people from different areas, different techniques, and all the techniques may work, but it just works for that person differently. So there's many ways to do the same thing.
Yep. So I just want to acknowledge the people who are in here in the chat, because some of the people I don't recognize. So I know they're here for Reggie, and I want Reggie to know everybody is here.
What's up, Brandis?
I did see, of course, Bosa, Brandis, the beautiful Brandis. God. You talk about gorgeous, y'all. Just gorgeous. She just do it on just by accident. She ain't even trying.
Absolutely.
I just adore you. And she was prettier in person.
Absolutely.
When you think she wasn't pretty, she was prettier in person, and just a good personality as well. So thank you for coming through. Brandis has been here before, but thank you for coming through. Dominique, my girl, my Dom, my number one female supporter. Thank you so much. My sis Raina, thank you for coming through, Raina, again. Then we have Ashley here. She's saying hi.
What's up, Ash? Oh, hello.
We got Jeremy here from Wolfels More. Mike from Herb Collectors. Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike.
What up? What up?
And there we go. AJ and Fred, or AJ or Fred, are here from FNA Bowls. Definitely huge fans of Reggie Urban Jungle.
Great guys. I love them.
They love you. And even when you're not around, they make that clear. So I just want to put that out there. Leon is here. And let's see. Justin Thomas. Hey, Justin. Thank you for coming through. Nicole, the confidence is booming around you. You know what? So, Bosa, I'm always confident. One of the things that when I was talking to Reggie about when I did this podcast, I tried to bring it down some so it didn't come off as cocky. And so when I tell you that you learn from different people, clearly Reggie Johnson could be as cocky as he want to be because he's doing his thing on all levels, and we're ready to get into some more of that. But I'm telling you, the man is just so ultimately humble. And I also learned from you, Reggie, that a lot of things can be said that you really don't have to say. Just move on, type of thing. Especially when you're trying to protect your brand. And I talk about Reggie's brand all the time, not just Reggie Urban Jungle, the name, but talk about the consistency of your branding. How do you consciously protect your brand? Because you do.
Well, first and foremost, I'm honest because the number one respect thing for people is being honest because nobody likes being lied to. So
right.
If there's an issue, I talk about the issue. I'm not gonna say I don't try and talk about the good things, but I let other people basically brag for me, if that makes sense. But it's definitely important that I hold myself to a high standard. I don't do anything to people that I wouldn't want done back to me. I treat everyone like humans because when I first started out, I was a nobody. I was just, a little black kid interested in snakes, and I would get turned away just because I would ask dumb questions. But if you don't know the answer, there is no such thing as a dumb question. So
right.
I just like helping people that were once in my position get to where they need to be. And my brand is very important. It's more than just me selling snakes or things of that nature. I definitely promote education. I promote equality, treating people as, as human beings, because at the end of the day, we're all the same. We just want to, have fun, live life, and make beautiful animals. But my brand is very important. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like talking about myself a lot, but my brand is important, and it has come a long way from where I started. I'll say that it's definitely taken on a form of its own.
And talk about, and I've heard you speak on this before, but there are people who are in the chat that haven't. Your aunt is the one who came up with Reggie's Urban Jungle.
Yes.
So I don't know if she's in the chat.
I don't know. I sent it out. Yeah, so originally Reggie's Urban Jungle was Johnson Family Reptiles, and she was gonna get me a domain name for Christmas, and I was like, yes, Johnson's Family Reptiles. She was like, nah, I like Reggie's Urban Jungle, and I was like, nah, it's Johnson's Family Reptiles. And she was like, oh, too late. I already bought it. It's Reggie's Urban Jungle, so now you have it for a year. Deal with it. So I was like, you know what? Christmas present. Beggars can't be choosers. Thank you. Right. Rocked with it for a year. It started to, pull over on me. And I was like, you know what? I can admit when I'm wrong. She made the right decision. And I came up with a couple logos for it. Took me about 5 minutes and chose the one I got now. And I've been rocking with it ever since. And I do appreciate her for that, because sometimes I am a tourist. So sometimes I can be bullheaded and stuck in my ways. But when someone else is right, I definitely give them credit for it. And she was right, because Reggie's Urban Jungle definitely sounds better than Johnson Family Reptiles.
Especially where you are right now today as Absolutely. A grown man, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that, and I say this all the time, even when you're not around, there's nobody's clothing brand that is more elite than yours. Nobody's. And what I mean by that, from a female, child, grown man, old man, little man, big man, Reggie's Urban Jungle is worn on every single level. And I think because, number one, it represents so much. When you look at your logo, it represents so much. It didn't have to represent, because when you think urban, you think about little black boys and little black girls. But I always talk about urban is not about race. It's about status more than anything. And as I see your brand out there on everybody, from the big breeders to the breeders that you don't know yet, or to me who wasn't even breeding yet, and I just had to have it because his mother was cute as I don't know what in a dress.
Definitely appreciate you.
I didn't know it was your mom. I was like, she is cute, and that's my mother. Oh, okay. Mom is rocking that, and I need to buy it.
Appreciate it.
So, Leon, thank you for paying attention and coming through. You're in the right place at the right time for sure. We are interviewing one of the greats today, so thank you. Next, I wanted to ask you, Reggie. You
Hold
said
on, real
that.
quick before one of my people that I'm mentoring in Little Rock is in here. He's a 10-year-old young
Okay.
boy that I'm mentoring. He just had his first successful clutch this year. It was a pastel blackhead inchy to a normal, I believe, but he had 4 healthy eggs. So I just want to give him a quick shout out.
Wow, he's ahead of me. I got all these incubators and no eggs. Great job. What is his name?
His name is Little Rock. Adrian. Yep, they're right there. You got it right up there. That's his mother. He's on his mother's page right now.
Okay.
So, yep.
That is dope.
Yep, he's actually my best friend's little cousin. So it started off, I think their snake had a problem eating, and then, it went from there. He caught the bug, and every time they have a question, I have no issue answering them. They're definitely heading the right direction, and they're gonna have some crazy double and triple recessive projects coming out here shortly. So.
And he's in Little Rock, Arkansas. You said?
No. His name is Little Rock.
His name is Little Rock. Gotcha.
Yep. So
awesome.
He's definitely headed in the right direction.
Trying to get this one to get to the point of ovulation. She's definitely building though. Mm-hmm. And I finally learned how to use the daggone sonogram, Reggie.
See, I need to buy one. See, I can palpate pretty good, but I need to save my males. The ultrasound makes it so much more efficient because, like Bob, I'm doing a couple pairings with Bob, and he has a couple of my females, and he paired them one time, and that's all it took. And I'm over here pairing 5, 6, 7 times just to make sure. But the ultrasound is definitely saves your males.
Yeah. So it ended up being the settings, and I'd have never thought of that, right? But now that the settings is right, is amazing what I can see, and I just feel so much better. I used to send Reggie those pictures too. Like, look at this. What does it look like? I don't think I'll ever be able to, and I'm still trying to pop or palpate.
Never say never, because once you get because when I first started, I was afraid I was going to hurt the animal. But once you realize how sturdy, strong they are, and if you use proper technique, it's kind of effortless how it, the hemipenes just pop out or don't pop out, whether it's male or female. But it took me about a good 6 months of consistently trying on the hatchlings, because once you get a hang of it with the smaller animals, because their muscles are not as strong, the bigger animals, all right, I can put a little more oomph on it. This is how I roll my thumb. This is where I place my other hand. And then it becomes second nature, because I have a probe kit as well, but I'm not going to say I don't trust the probe kit because I like to see it. But once you learn how to pop, you only need one hemipene to come out to know if it's male or female.
Yeah, so I actually tried, and my son was telling me I was doing good the other day on one of the smallest hatchling I have. I just bore her she's only probably about a couple months old. Mm-hmm. And I know she's a female, so I knew what I was looking at. But even then, I felt like, no, I can't do it no more. I don't want to do it no more. I felt like I was just going to break something in the snake. So I guess I should keep trying. But
so it's more, for me, it's more of the thumb roll than it is the actual pushing of the tail.
Okay.
Let's see if I can.
Yeah, let's do one.
Let me see.
Yeah, definitely. Congratulations, Lil Rock. That is awesome. I can't wait to have that feeling.
Talking about popping out here, I ain't gonna be able to do it on camera. So I place the thumb here, and then I roll, and I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
And it just pops out. He got sperm plug, so it was kind of, it's the thumb, the roll, quick little pop. There you go. So you don't have to apply much pressure. You just have to know where to put your hands.
Okay.
But again, like I said, it took me a few months to learn, because just like everybody else, I didn't want to hurt the animal or anything. But once you get a feel for what you're feeling for when you're doing it, you can kind of feel the hemipenes, and then boop, boop, they pop out, and then you roll the reverse so it goes back in so they don't get stuck out.
Okay. And then I guess the other thing is that, of course, if it has hemipenes, you can see those.
Let me get a female.
Yeah.
We will do a triple het clown-eyed genetic structure.
Welcome, G3. Good seeing you. No herping today.
All right, I know it's dark in here. So then you can
It's
see
just
a
like
little bit.
bubble
Yeah,
blister looking.
yep, exactly. So
Okay.
maybe sometimes there's little pink, which look like hemipenes, but they're not. They're very, very small. You can clearly tell the difference. But yeah, it's just like you said, a little blister comes out, and you definitely know male from female once you do it. But it's more so the roll, not the bending of it.
Got you. So you said we're speaking of your daughter, and we're
Mhm.
talking about legacy now. You definitely, I just know, just being the person you are, you want her to do whatever she wants to do in life. But are you hoping and praying that she would want to continue on the legacy of Reggie's Urban Jungle, or do you just don't want her to touch it at all?
If she wants to do it, I'm all for it. If my time comes and she doesn't want to do it, I just hope she doesn't sell my collection for $1. You know, if you're not gonna do it, get your money's worth. You know, make sure you get the max value of this collection. Because
Right.
by the time my time is over, I'm hoping it's up there in the seven figures, if not eight. But just don't sell my collection and hard work for $1.
Now, do you still have it was one snake that you held as a holdback you could sell for 15-20K?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
my pastel desert ghost clown het hypo female that I
Y'all
made
hear
from.
that? So Reggie, when you first mentioned that, I didn't know what all those genetics mean. Now that I hear it now, I understand you not selling it better.
Yep. So I bought the mom as a pastel het desert ghost pos double het hypo clown. I bought the dad as a pastel clown, 100% het desert ghost pos het hypo, and they both proved out. The mom gave me 8 eggs on her first time. She gave me 6 clowns. She gave me the pastel desert ghost clown. She gave me a super pastel hypo clown. She gave me 2 clown pos double hets. She gave me a pastel hypo 100%. Like, so she gave me a little bit of everything. The only thing I did not hit was just a plain desert ghost, which is fine because I obviously hit a pastel desert ghost clown. Right. Hoping it was a male, but not too many people have pastel desert ghost clown het hypos in their collection. But mom proved out triple het for everything. Dad proved out visual double het. So a $700 investment, if you know the animals, that entire collection was pretty high up there. So I did definitely get a return on my investment on taking a chance with some possible hets, because I was originally just going for desert ghosts het clowns, but she proved out hypo, she proved out clown, proved out desert ghost. So that's probably the best $200 investment I've ever made.
And she actually she's growing pretty good, like from when the first time that you showed when I seen her. Mm-hmm. So it's funny how perspective changes. So when Reggie first shared that snake and he said the snake is worth 15,000, mm-hmm. I'm like, sell it, That's before I knew
same thing my mom said.
Why you don't.
Mm-hmm.
So when do you think that you'll be able to actually start pairing that one, the baby?
She's around 800 grams. So if she continues at the rate that she's going and she doesn't hit that 1,000-gram wall that ball pythons tend to hit, she'll be ready by the winter of 2023. I don't want to rush her. I know a lot of breeders say wait till 1,500 grams, but if she has follicles and she's healthy, the worst thing that can happen is I pair her and she doesn't go. So when she's ready, I breed year round. Yeah. So when the female's ready, I breed them. If they go, they go. If not, fatten them up. Try again next time.
Now, when you say try again next time, so let's say, for instance, I know because I learned breeding year round. You was one of the first people I heard talk about that. But let's say she builds follicles and they reabsorb, right?
I'll wait about 6 months.
Okay.
About 6 months before I try again. I want to get another probably 20 rats in her, because a lot of time if they reabsorb, they might take an entire season off if you try to pair them too soon again because they have 2 tracks of follicles and they interchange. So one is building at one time while the other one's lying dormant. So, I don't want to mess them up and then her take 2 years off. So I'll wait about 6 good months, check the follicles again to see if they've built back up or where they need to be. And if not, then I'll just keep feeding her. And once I start seeing signs of follicles through palpating, then I'll pair her once or twice.
Okay. So who has been some of your top 3? I know one, but your top 3. I know it's a lot of people inspire you, but the top 3 people who, not that you want to create animals that look like them, but inspire you to be who you are in the reptile business today.
First and foremost, I saw Brian Barczyk from Snake Bites back in the day. I know some people love him, some people hate him. He's been great to me. I have no issue with him. His videos definitely put me in the right direction back in 2012 when I first started taking it serious. So I learned a lot from him. Ozzy, Master of the Orange Dream, more than just a reptile guy, definitely business savvy, very intelligent with his finances and what he does and how he grows, uses his reptile money to enhance his life in all aspects. He's definitely someone I look up to. Justin Kabelika, obviously, Jesus and ball pythons. Can't go there. He drops some more for a combo, and everyone's plans for the entire season change.
Just go.
So exactly. And Will from RCR, from Royal Canadian Reptiles. Billy Rose from Canada. I know it's more than 3, but a lot of the people that I look up to when I was not Reggie's Urban Jungle, they treated me the same then as they do now. So I got to show them much respect. Ozzy's a phone call away. Justin's a phone call away. Billy, Will, all of those people that I look up to. Even, Brian Barczyk, he's a very busy man, but when he has the time, he'll take a phone call. So I was asking silly questions like, how much do I price this normal for? I don't want to, overprice or, cheat myself. And they would answer, or how do I hook the heat tape up? Or what would I pair, back when I was just trying to figure it out. Why can't I keep 2 snakes in a tub?
Right.
So I definitely got to give respect to them. And Billy from Mutation Creation, him, Austin, Elion, they're actually the reason I have half the YouTube subscribers I have now. I went up there, hung out with him at a reptile show. He invited me to his facility, let me take pictures, hold his animal, get to feel for what it's like to actually have a reptile building and a large collection of animals. The people that were there, I wouldn't have met otherwise. So I met a lot of bigger people and actually had to have a one-on-one because social media, they get 1,000 inboxes every day, but to actually have a face-to-face conversation with the people that we look up to is completely different than sending a message. So he gave me an opportunity for that. They, everyone I named, they support me. They wear my merch or my gear on their videos. When we talk, it's not just animals. How's the family? How's, everything? Because they're human just like us. They just happen to be very good at a particular craft, and they want to be treated as human. They don't want to be treated as I'm above you here and there. No, I want to be treated as a person, and that's how I treat them. And it's a mutual respect. They treat me just as if I were coming out with the new world's first quad visual recessive. So all those guys, much respect. I learn a lot from them. Like a few of my mentors are younger than me. So, age has nothing to do with it. It's the knowledge of how they can present it to you. They're not selfish with the information. They take their time. So those are my top 5. And, there's a lot more people. I don't want to, shortchange anybody, but, I learn from any and everybody. If we've had an interaction, I'm hoping to learn something from you, whether you're asking me questions or not. So those are my.
And I think that's the right mindset to take. And one thing that you said that I will tell you that it was definitely eye-opening to me. It started with, and again, this is something that Reggie knows, 2 years ago when I went to Nerd, I had no idea that Kevin McCurley would be a best friend of mine. It's like someone that literally any hour of the day, any time of the day, you can call, text, and get the information out. And mind you, like Reggie's saying about Brian Barczyk, Kevin to me was like God. So to meet that person and to see, first of all, how humbling it was for him to see that he had an impact on someone who looked like me. And I'm talking about a Black female starting off, right?
I got a story to tell when you're done about Kevin.
Okay. And to see that not only was I into animals, but into them the way that I was, like literally you saved up to get to this point in your life. Mm-hmm. And it created a lot of the animals that you see that I have. It's because of watching him years ago. First of all, I didn't know that we were even that close in age. You think sometimes that even Ozzy, you forget that Ozzy's only 52 and I'm 49, right? Because you look at that person
over 25.
No, but I'm saying, you look at Ozzy as this big giant in the business. But even that relationship. So I would say, Reggie, what you just talked about, I am so surprised at the relationship I have with Ozzy now. Of course, the relationship I have with Kevin will never change. I don't care what it is. And I'm talking about we have talk. And like, I think a lot of times people think those people are not tangible. Mm-hmm. And then once you get to meet these people and realize how, not just tangible, but how open they are and how, I'm telling you, like Ozzy wants to see me winning this. Like, I mean, and we made transactions that because he wants to see me win, not because he wants to sell a snake, but because he wants to see me win. This is the transactions that we're making. The value of that relationship is most incredible. And I think that sometimes people coming into this, they don't realize what you said, that they're human. Reggie, believe it or not, there's somebody looking at you who think you're Ozzy, or how we feel about those people. Mm-hmm. But when they inbox you and you actually respond, you literally are changing an individual's life at that moment, or helping them make a decision. Do I really want to do this breeding thing or not? I've been doing this for a long time. I didn't start into 2 years, even considering the fact that I wanted to breed. But I think that had a lot to do with people like yourself. There's females in this that, I've followed for years, the Tracy Barkers and people like that. But even today, seeing females doing it, it was inspiring to me to say that you really can do this. It's not as difficult as you think it was. So just wanted to point that out there, but go ahead, say what you was gonna share something.
So when I first started, I would go to Tinley, and everybody I saw on social media, I would ask for a picture. Can we take a picture? I'll post it. I'll tag you. Hopefully they repost it, X, Y, and Z. So one of the Tinley shows, I want to say it was October Tinley, maybe 2018, before COVID hit or whatever. And that was the first time Kevin had been to Tinley in 20 some odd years. The year might be wrong, but he hasn't been there in 20 years. And I was like, you know what? I may not get a chance to meet him. I'm going to wait in line. He got 30 people in front. Kevin, can I get a picture? So I'm just standing in the back, patiently waiting. I'm cool with Jeremy, his former manager. Right. Jeremy's like, that's my guy. That's bro for life. But Jeremy sees me, quick wave. I say, what's up? I'm gonna wait my turn. Everybody else wants to meet Kevin. And then Kevin, he finished talking to somebody, and he's like, hey, Reggie, come here. And I'm like, hold on. Is there You mean this Reggie? Hey, come here, man. I love your videos. Excuse me, sir. Hold on. You talk this Reggie? And he's like, yeah, man, I got to get a picture with you. And I'm like, first of all, sir, I was waiting for a picture with you. So after that, I was like, you know what? This man's amazing. So after that, I was like, you know what, Reggie, you might be able to do something, okay? If the Dark Morph Lord knows who you are. And I'm pretty sure it was Jeremy, after the way. But the fact that he took time out to say, hey, Reggie, I want a picture with, I want to talk to you. We talked for about 20 minutes. And, like you said, he's a great person. The connection for life, definitely helpful. He wants to see you win. So yeah, that was like, I don't have many fanboy moments, but that was a cool moment for me. Like, okay, Reggie, you might be on, you might be doing the right things in the community for the
Right.
higher ups to, know who you are. So I appreciate
And I
that.
will tell you the other advice that you gave, and I want you to kind of elaborate on this. The importance of going to the reptile show. So I always used to make the joke that there's not a reptile show that Reggie misses, right? But you're not in Anaheim today.
I know. So I got invited to Anaheim, but the tickets from Michigan to California were $900.
The tickets to go to Daytona, like I was saying, it's the keys. What we're paying is what we don't even pay that much to go out of the country to go to Daytona this year. It's like triple, quadruple of regular.
Luckily, I don't have to pay for hotels or nothing. But getting down there, whew, I might not be able to buy no snakes, but I'm gonna be there.
Yeah, well, I'm not missing Daytona. That was the one thing. We just gonna go ahead and pay the ticket.
Absolutely. Daytona, Tinley's, and Arlington are my three staples. I wasn't able to get to Arlington this year, but those are the three that I'll never miss.
Yes, yeah, because you would normally be at Arlington as well, but I will say that going to Tinley this past October was a game changer for me. And I'm talking about outside of social media. I'm very active on social media, but meeting people in person and let them really get to meet you in person, because who you are, people only can get a piece of you on social media, honestly. But once they get to see who you really are in person, it creates a whole different relationship. And for me, I interviewed Mike Monitors last week. Mike, again, because I'm a lizard girl, was like a Kevin to me, right? So absolutely. Meeting him in Tinley and seeing just how down to earth, cool, funny he was, allowed me to understand what you said. These are normal people, very, very normal people doing very, very normal things who love animals just the way that you do. So as people come in to this hobby, what is 3 things that you think that they must know, must do, or must invest in order to be successful? And I'm talking about ball python breeding specifically.
Definitely invest in knowledge. So research, mentor. There's nothing that you can't learn over again or better. So definitely research. You want to make sure it's for you. You want to pick your projects properly. I know we all make the rookie mistake of just buying. Well, not all, but most people make, oh, it looks cool, I need it. Well, now you're sitting on 30 males and 2 females and you don't have any sense of direction. So definitely a mentor, research knowledge, plan out your stuff.
Bless you. Yeah, he's suffering from allergies right now. In the
I'm allergic to rats, and they're right behind me. But definitely mentor, knowledge. Treat people how you would like to be treated. That's very important, because when I first came into the hobby, I did not get treated how I thought I should have been treated, like everyone else, just based on outwards appearances. There's not too many of us, but the times have definitely changed from 10 years ago to now. So I've always done it, but I treat everyone the exact same with the respect. Hey, how you doing? I'm Reggie. Let's talk about, how's your season going? What's your first clutch? Oh, you just have a pet? What kind of pet? What got you in? I just like to have basic conversations with everyone. Treat them like human beings, how I want to be treated.
Right.
So respect others how you want to be respected back. And then planning for, if you're going to breed for ball pythons in today's age, with how many recessives are going into projects, and now you can come into the hobby for a fair price with investment animals.
Yeah.
So like, I remember I thought $100 was a lot for a snake. Now I'm out here dropping $10K for a normal, quadruple heads, X, Y, and Z. But definitely plan out your projects, write it down, and always remember your projects are subject to change. Because when I first created my pastel desert ghost head hypo female, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just breed it back to dad and get triple visuals. But now, I'm trying to work sunset into it. I might do ultramel into it. I might do pie. I might do monsoon into it. I might even toss tri-stripe in her to see what I get. But the fact that I have her, she's growing up. When it comes to that point, then I might have a better male then than I have now. So always plan, but be open for change in your breeding plan. So knowledge, mentors, treat people with respect, and definitely plan.
All right. And so how do you what is that number for you to keep you from being overwhelmed? How many snakes do you think is and I'm going to use you for an example because you're probably, I mean, whether it's male or female, your lifestyle is typical of most breeders. You're full-time employee, you are full-time breeder, you are taking care of kids, or your daughter. So most people are taking care of family, feeding children, and all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
What is that number for you that's like, that's too much?
So I think if I get to a point where I have 80 breeder females, not including my holdbacks and grow-ups to replace them once the time comes, and 40 males, I think I'll be good. So I think 120 breeder animals itself, not including the holdbacks, replacements, the hatchlings that I created to sell. So once it gets to the point where it's no longer fun and I feel like it's work, then I need to reduce it. Like you can see behind me, there are some empty tubs because I was holding back animals just to hold them back. Like maybe this 66% POS double head tri-stripe DG might prove out. Okay, well now I have 100% double heads. So now I no longer need to hold this animal back, and it reduces the number of animals I have, and it keeps me where I need to be because I don't need to grow up a 66% POS double head when I have the 100, double head. So it keeps me at a low number. I know what I'm getting. I know what I'm selling to the people, if it doesn't work out. So if I can stay under 300 animals total with holdbacks and grow-ups and breeders, that's a safe number for me right now. Now, once I move into my house and I convert the basement, then my number might grow. But as of right now, I'm comfortable at about 300 animals.
Okay. Let me just special shout out. Hi, Miss Bosa. Thank you for coming. All right. So right now, how do you determine what are you placing on Morph Market today? Is it based on this is the animal I no longer need, or like you was just saying, I'm just holding this animal back, have no plans for it, place it on Morph Market?
So I've always bred, excuse me, I've always bred for what I want, and what I don't need, I will put on Morph Market for sale. The male that you got from me, he served his purpose. He gave me a couple clutches. I no longer needed them. One of his, hatchlings were to replace him. So his job here was done. Moved on now. Like it's like Ozzy's, once you get something better, you replace them. You stay at the same number, but the quality gets better. It's about the quality, not the quantity. So that's what I do. I breed for myself. If I don't need it, I put it on Morph Market. I definitely go through my circle of friends first to see if it's something that they would need. If they need it, they get first dibs. Well, actually, Keisha from Splash Pack Reptiles, my ball python best friend, she gets first dibs. If I don't want it, she don't want it. Then we go to the group. If the group don't want it, then I post it on Morph Market. So it's a couple steps to, oh, I caught the cough.
Poor Reggie.
Right.
I'm not gonna keep you in there much longer, but I have some more questions.
Oh no, that's cool. Okay. Hold on, I'll be right back. Let me grab a hose real quick.
Okay.
We can get it on the top.
Yes, we love the Bosa family for sure. For sure. Great people, great energy.
All right, we back in action now. I'm good.
Okay. All right. So how do you determine what you're going to price them as? Like, have it ever been a time that you looked on Morph Market and said, okay, He's charging 1,000. She's charging 1,000, but my snake is 2,500. I'm just using those numbers as example.
Well, so I actually did a joint pairing with Splash Pack Reptiles, and we did a clown pie to a genetic stripe. There are none available on Morph Market, so I couldn't compare prices because, to the best of my knowledge, they're the only ones that have been made that don't have cryptic or something else in them. So I'll reach out to people or compare like animals. So I would compare it to like a clown pied hype, triple head clown pied hypo. Go from there, but but I would normally compare like you said, and I know the quality of animal I have, and if I feel my animal looks better and the genetics are stronger, I will price it as such. If I feel that my genetics are weaker or doesn't look as good, I will price it as such. But I try and hang out towards the middle. I don't want to go too high, don't want to go too low. I do wholesale a lot of animals to my local pet shops here. I do supply them with ball pythons. Jeremy.
Okay, speaking of Jeremy, Jeremy's here.
My guy.
Hey, Jeremy.
Definitely. But
Jeremy was there when my life was made. He made sure that happened as well. But definitely, again, when you talk about good spirits and good characters, Jeremy is one on all levels. Just a great guy in the community.
Also a talented musician.
Yes, very talented. And so, again, when you get to pull back the layers and learn that about people, very talented musician, can sing. I mean, it's just amazing. And so we always talk about what people think reptile people look like or who they are. And as I try to interview different people, and I'm very selective of the timing of who I interview, because it cracks me up. Like at work, when people would say, "You don't look like a person who would own reptiles," and like, what does that person look like? Exactly. So if you look through the catalog of the people who I've interviewed so far, who they are, their social being, their human being, we're so broad. I mean, there's doctors. There's in the bro group one time it was a pilot. I'm like, you a pilot? Like, you don't even think that these are people who actually would be interested. But it's great to again use this platform to show people this is what we look like. Because there is a little girl or a little boy somewhere who don't want to tell their mama or daddy that they want a reptile or won't get it because someone told them this is what reptile people are or what they look like.
Right, absolutely.
We're not the image of what people think we are. All of us don't have fangs, and all of us don't have dreadlocks, and all of us don't have different color hair, and some of us are professionals on a whole different level, and you can do both. And you're a perfect example of that. You are a perfect example of a well-rounded person who is killing the whole reptile breeding experience. So I'm going to go into something that every time you tell the story intrigues the hell out of me because I didn't know it until last year. Let's talk about your experience with Joe Exotics and how did you end up working for him?
So Joe Exotic is my guy. I worked for him from 2011 to 2014 on and off. It was just after my senior year of college basketball. I finished that up. I was joking with one of my friends, and I was like, you know what? I want a tiger. And it was a white friend. He was like, black people can't have tigers. And I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, black people don't do that. That's white boy stuff. So I'm like, don't play me. So I did my research. I found the FCF, the Feline Conservation Federation, Lynn. I was registered with her. I flew down to Orlando. They had a meet and greet. I took they also offered courses on big cat husbandry, dangerous animal handling, and all that. So flew down there, passed all the tests, got my certs. Found out that Joe Exotic, Carol Baskins, and Doc Antel were looking for new employees or area managers. And I talked to all of them. They all offered me a position. Carol, she didn't pay her employees, so it would have been for free. No. Fresh out of college, I need a little bit of money. Doc Antel down at the Tigers Reservation in Myrtle Beach, he said you had to be a vegetarian. I'm a carnivore. That didn't work. Joe said if you treat the animals right and treat people with respect, you can do whatever you want. So I chose Joe, flew down there 2 days later, handed me the keys to 25% of his park, trained me for 6 months on how to be a key holder. I had a staff of 10 employees under me. I worked with 2,500 different species, but a majority of my animals were the baby tigers, lions, bears, wolves, things of that nature, the carnivorous animals. And I did that on and off for 3 years, and I loved every single second of it.
Do you have any of the exotic animals still? Like you had a couple that were pets, right?
Yep, I have the ringtail lemur, I have an Arctic fox, kangaroo. They're all on breeder loan with my friend down at the Exotic One Zoo down in Belleville over here. He does animal shows and he takes them out for educational things and birthday parties and stuff like that. But he's sitting on like 100 acres. So, we join our forces and they're a lot more comfortable out there. They got animals of the same species that they can play with. And whenever I need to go there, I go out there and I pay, for the upkeep and all that till I can get a much bigger facility because the animals' health and environment is what's most important. I'd love to have them here with me every single day, but 100 plus 200 acres is way better than right here. So, yep. So I still have 3 of them. I plan on, once I get my own property, opening up an educational facility based in STEM, using the animals to get people integrated and interested in math, science, technology, and engineering. So, yeah, it started from there. And Joe is just as crazy as on the show, but he's also, if he's for you, he's for you. He's a ride or die. So I have nothing bad to say about Joe ever. He gave me an opportunity to live my dream.
I really, really found him very intriguing. And of course, it's a TV show. That's the only way I know him. But I actually felt so bad for him. Like I felt like, because think about us. And actually Jeremy is in here. Jeremy was talking, it was a friend that he lost a few weeks ago. And he was talking about how even sometimes your family can treat you a certain kind of way and treat you differently. And when I think about Joe Exotics, first of all, I love people who just be who you are. That's who he was, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that when it comes to the combination of being who you are and then your love for animals, and clearly anybody who wants to just invest their entire life savings into an animal, it's because you love them, because you got options. Absolutely. You can invest in a whole lot of other stuff than animals.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we sat to did our taxes for the last year, I'm like, it's enlightening.
I already know. Mm-hmm. I spent this much
because you don't think about it, right? You see it,
it's second nature.
You pay for it and you go on. Yeah. But as reptile owners, and for y'all in the chat who are not at this part yet, I will employ you to write down everything that you purchase, right? Because for me, I can look back and say, yes, you know what I mean? It still doesn't hurt my feelings, although the number is like, oh, wow, okay. I didn't realize it. But to somebody who don't love them the way that we do, or who don't understand the bigger future of breeding when you invested that kind of money. Jeremy knows when I was at Nerd, money was just whatever. Can I get this? Can I have this? Yeah, can I please have this? Yep. The hard part was getting my husband to buy into what I wanted to buy.
Right.
Which even he's better now, Reggie, because like you're talking about buying those expensive snakes. I mean,
passion helps with that, though, because if your significant other sees the passion and the drive and how passionate you are about it, they can tell you really care. Okay, this is a big part of their life. It means a lot to them. I support them in their endeavors. Let me see what this is actually about. Because like you said, not everyone loves the animals the way we people. Reggie, why do you have 150 snakes? Because I have 150 snakes that I love and I go check on every single day. I would have them whether I was getting paid or not. And then once they understand that I could be buying shoes, you know what I'm saying,
Yep.
and not getting no money on return on my investment. So it's a passion that I love. It's a profitable passion. It's a passion to where my customers, if they are successful, I'm even more successful because the hobby in itself is going up. So it's a win-win situation because like Ozzy, he wants everyone to eat at the same table he's at. Because if they do better, he does better. And when everybody does better, everybody can eat at the same table and be successful.
That's right.
And not take food from everybody else. So it's one of the few hobbies that you can actually do that, and your customer can also, you can be their customer as well. Like it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, so I mean, it is so funny because, and again, Reggie, like we got history, so he knows some of this stuff. But when I got the water monitor, and talking about what you wanted for him, and I remember saying to my husband, "You're going to take the entire garage and you're going to build for this water monitor." So that means no cars going to park in there ever again. Yep. There's no playing in there, no nothing. And I watched him do that with his hands. Because you talked about like literally it was to make me happy. And I tell you, every single time I walk in there with Larry, I don't feel guilty about having a water monitor. That daggone lizard is having the time of his life because he has, I mean, not all the space he wants, because let's keep it real, you know, he should have a whole jungle somewhere or whatever, right, or a whole pond, but he has enough of what he needs. And I do believe that also that creates a better relationship between you and the animal. So people always ask me, like even with my retakes, and you remember when I got the very first one, like the way that I treat them, letting them roam the house and stuff like that. Like I think like giving them those opportunities is the reason why they're not, I don't want to say evil or, you know, they're not temperamental. They are very
comfortable.
Calm.
They're comfortable with your presence. They don't feel like you're a predator. Very, very comfortable. Talking about yours, this one of the snakes that I got from you. Spice is sweet. That's the girl. That's what I named the girl. I named her Spice. But Kim, to me, he acts more like a pet. Like he doesn't act like a breeder snake. If I go get him right now, he's gonna come up on me. You know how some breeder snakes, because they're breeder snakes. Yeah. I'm not into all Feed
that.
me, put me with my mate.
Yes. Yes. But he is still very much, you can tell that he was not necessarily handled, but he wasn't just thrown in a drawer, just throwing food in there. He acts like a pet. And he is one that I actually kind of keep out a little longer because he likes to sit on the sofa and move around a little more and things like that. But those relationships that you build, you talk about a healthy animal. I think it's just like us. If we're stimulated here and we're comfortable here, all the output and energy we give to the world is going to be better off for the animal and for the person who is handling an animal. Absolutely. So I think that one of the biggest advice I give to people, because sometimes, and I see this where people
up, Ashley? Sorry, had to give a shout out to Ashley.
Yep. Oh, hey, Ashley. Look, I don't get to see those people anymore. Hi, Ashley. But yeah, so I think that what people need to understand, and what I tell people, sometimes people want to go out and buy all of this because they see that this person has it or this person have it. I come home from a full-time job. You come home from a full-time job, and we can't wait to come home.
It's our safe space. It's a place of relaxation, zen. Yep. Like when I'm angry, I come here. When I'm sad, open a couple of drawers. I'm like, all right, it's not too much to be sad about. I'm good right here. And then I can go back out into the real world with a positive mindset.
Yep. And some people, I would say you have to understand too. Like, I mean, with you always say it, but whatever. Like you'll be like, I'm not rich. I mean, I get you're not rich by the what rich is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not rich. You know, rich means that you don't have
worries.
No worries, right? You know what I mean? I still have a mortgage. We still got to pay this thing. When the house belongs to the bank, not us. So I get what you're saying. But some people will look at a you and a me, and they're not even where we are, and think that this is what I want to do. Then you have to feed these big snakes, because that's a whole nother thing. Or you have to feed your 80 breeders. That's a whole nother thing to it.
You got to be happy cleaning them too.
You got to be happy and keeping them. That's another thing.
Husbandry is very important.
Husbandry is very, very important. When you talk about respiratory infections and things like that.
Yeah.
Leave a animal drinking water full of shit. I mean, I'm sure that it's something.
Exactly. And that's what the first thing they do. As soon as you clean them, they go right for the water, or they go right for the back corner of your tub. Like, you didn't just spend 15 minutes on a full tub clean. So, absolutely.
I mean, and I tell you, with retics very specifically, you can tell when a retic poop. They don't want to be near it. They don't want to smell it. They go all the way to the other side. If I come down here, I'm like, you done poop, and look over there. There's a whole big pile of shit over there. Yep. And you have to understand that it's not fair to leave them in those conditions. And sometimes that's coming down 2:00 in the morning, and you see it's there. Yep. I'm not gonna let you know that. I'm not letting my animals sit no pee or no poop. That's just not.
I spot clean every single day. That's why I check all the tubs every single day. If I can just grab it and toss it, and put a little fresh cocoa in there, I do it. But if it's a bigger one, you got to take the time. You got to be comfortable spending hours upon hours after a full day to make sure your animals are good. You got to change the water 2-3 times a week. You got, like you said, make sure the poop and pee is out of there so you don't have respiratory infections and all the things like that. But those are things I enjoy. I don't like shit, but I like having an environment that is healthy for my animal to know that when it does grow up and breed, or I sell it to someone as a pet, they come from the best situation that I could possibly put them in, because they're here because we're playing God. We're creating life. So if we're going to do that, we put them in the best environment for that specific species needs, and it's very important.
I am going to take a moment. Kion is in the chat. So Kion is actually not my biological sister, but my very close, and we call each other sister. In fact, if you see us, actually, y'all thought her daughter and my daughters were the same person at one time, Reggie. We looked that much alike, but she's not my biological sister. But Kion's mother was an officer in Baltimore who was shot and killed a few months ago. And he expressed that he was interested in reptiles. And I said to Amy, who was his mother's very close friend, and she was shot and killed in the line of duty. Let me just say that. Get him a snake. And so she's had him watching my YouTubes and have him following me, and I've shared different videos with him as well. So thank you, baby, for being in here. I didn't realize you was in here. I wouldn't have said all those bad words, but I know you've heard them before. Thank you for being here. I'm so happy that you'll continue to follow, and hopefully you let me know when you're ready to get that first snake. I'll make sure that happens for you. Okay, so the other thing, Reggie, I did want to touch on is the education. You being a teacher, you teaching high school children. Do you ever bring the reptiles into that atmosphere? Okay.
Well, absolutely. I brought my alligator for 2 weeks. I bring the snakes whenever I can. When I get my hands on my lemur, I bring it. It invites them in. They want to come to the math class. They want to come to science class. And then they want to learn, well, how did you get it, Mr. Johnson? Well, if I do it, you can do it.
Right.
Well, what did you have to learn? Well, this is what I learned, and we're learning it in class now. These are things you want to pay attention to. So if you want to do this after high school, this is what you need to know. I need to know this math information when I'm doing genetics. I need to know the science between, allelics and codoms and recessives and all that for these animals. So it gives them a spark. Well, if I come to bio class, Mr. Johnson might have the alligator in the back of the class, and when we're done with our assignments, we can go take pictures with it, and I can be cool. I can be cool on social media. Then my friends are asking, and I'm telling them, hey, I'm in Mr. Johnson's bio class right now. He got an alligator. So it's like little things that sparks a slight interest, and then they realize, once you learn each student's learning style, because not everybody can see it and write it down. Sometimes they got to hear it. Sometimes, they have to see it physically. They have to be hands-on. So once you learn each individual student's learning style, they understand, okay, I can learn this. I'm interested. This is how I learn it. Then it's a beautiful thing. So I love using animals and sports to get people interested and students interested into education.
And that's great. And I think, again, I admire anyone who's working in the educational system today. Do you find it a struggle with being an administrative now compared to 10 years ago? Or were you even doing this 10 years ago?
I wasn't as heavy into bringing the animals in. I was always the weird person. We're all the weird one.
Right, we all weird.
Walk around with
right,
snakes.
Shawnee,
But now,
my cousin is in the chat.
Team Johnson, got to be a good person. But now that my daughter is older and I can see how she's retaining knowledge and information, and I started her off at such a young age, because my degree, I started off in early childhood education, then I moved up to secondary. So she's retaining the information. Like, she can come in and tell you about which snakes are recessives and what the Punnett square odds are if you do boom,
wow.
boom. And she's not even 10 yet. So
I'm still Googling that on Morph Market. If I compare this to this.
Absolutely. Me too, especially when it's 4 or 5 receptions in there. But I wish I would have started with the younger kids sooner to spark that interest earlier, so it became fun. School learning science and math was fun, because I know a lot of people don't like science and math because of the formulas and the equations that you have. But once you learn your learning style and technique for retaining information and regurgitating it, then it becomes fun. It doesn't become a chore and stressful. So I do wish I would have started that earlier, but now that the high schools I have want to learn, it makes it easier because I can give them the information and they'll retain it because they actually want to use it. So
totally agree. And my cousin said, "Oh my God, I salute you. High school is rough."
Mr. Johnson's class is fun though.
And you know what? And if you think about it, that's where you have to go with it. I was watching the principal, who I think it was in South Carolina. Every time his kids enter, he does a little dance with them and a little handshake.
I definitely have handshakes, my students. So I give away free Reggie's Urban Jungle gear to my students for academic success. So that doesn't just mean 4.0. That means if you had a 1.5 and you brought it up to a 2.5, that's progression for you. You took the time to get your grade up. So I give out t-shirts, hoodies, hats, all of that at the end of each semester. When I see academic progression, that's a reward, and the kids like it. It's something different, cool. Where I teach at, it's like their Nike. So they have, they try
absolutely
shoes and stuff. So
I think like that's where your brand is different. I think that it is. Like, I remember we were in Tinley. Even my husband was like, "That is nice." Like, dude is rocking the shit, right? I think that that's what's different about it. So can you just talk about, without giving all your secrets away, who you design it and then you send it off somewhere for them to?
So we'll start off with, I have a very poor fashion sense. Okay. I'm not good at fashion, but I make things that I like. So everything that you've seen Reggie's Urban Jungle, I'd either like to wear it, or I'd like my lady to wear it, or it looks cool on my daughter, or her friends like that. So my mother, jack of all trades. So I buy my logo screen print.
Okay.
I buy the shirts bulk wholesale. She presses them. We make everything in-house. I just found a local small business embroiderer that now does my embroidering. I have worked out a deal with them. So essentially everything that I make that's Reggie's Urban Jungle is made in-house, except I buy the blanks from wholesale websites or, providers of that nature. But yeah, if I like it, I buy it. I know at least once a month I'm tossing samples up on Facebook. Like, what do you guys think of this? And what do you think of that? And if I get a good review on it, then I'll continue to make it. If not, then I will, I give away a lot of Reggie's Urban Jungle stuff. I typically give away my samples or take,
Okay.
a fraction of the price for what it is, just because I want people to have it. I want people to feel good about it. Cause like you said, a lot of my stuff, I think it looks cool, and
It's
that just
really
may be
nice.
my opinion, but I like to see it out there. And I do donate a lot of my recycled or, older Reggie Urban Jungle stuff to the homeless shelters and stuff like that. So they can have clothes. So I'm not just throwing it away. So I like it. I like people to have it. And I'm very flexible and promote. That's how I got my name out there. I think for the first 2 years, I was just, you get a shirt, you get a shirt, you get a shirt, you get a hoodie. Look under your chair. Boom, there's another one. So that's how I got my name out there. And all I asked was just take a picture and tag me in it. And I think that's how I got my name out there before I really ever produced anything. Because I really didn't produce anything major until 2 years ago when I made my first tri-stripe. And then I hit a DG clown. But other than that, I wasn't making world's first or, 10 gene snakes. But now my collection is to where I've invested enough that this year I will be. Now Reggie's Urban Jungle means something in my eyes, that I've put in the work, the investment. I've
Right.
taken a lot of sacrifice, because for the longest, my family was like, why are you buying this $5,000 snake? Why are you always broke? Like, I'm not broke. I get snake money. I just reinvest it so you don't see it, but my collection is improving. And now it's 3 years later, and those did you buy that is breeding. And then, oh, you just made $25,000 from this clutch. Now
Right.
I see why you did it. So now it's finally coming to fruition. I'm feeling good about myself. I did make the right decisions back then. So it's definitely a coming full circle. And yeah.
So I wanted to share this. So I don't know if you follow Intrepid Exotics, but Tim just said, "Glad I hopped on today, Reggie. First time seeing you and following your channel now. And Nicole is knocking another live stream out of the park. Gotta run. So y'all have an awesome day." So Intrepid Exotics is one of my favorite YouTube channels. Very informative, like us. He has an array of different types of animals. He's a lover of the retic, so that's what kind of drew us together. He found me first through one of my YouTube videos on reticulated pythons, but I definitely would agree with you, Mike. Reggie is a wealth of knowledge. As humble as he is, right? Would you ever, and it goes back to Dominique's question a little bit, would you ever do or utilize your platform to teach, not necessarily just the younger generation, but like I know you're not after the Patreon. We talked about that before. You're not there yet in your mind, but utilize a platform to actually teach people more about the breeding or the process of breeding, the smart way of doing it, because your educational background blended into the breeding is definitely different for most people who consider themselves as new breeders.
Right. So as you know, I've never not answered a question.
Right.
I mean, I know I don't put myself out there like that. I know in the bro group, every time there's a question, I get tagged in it, and I message people privately and all that. But whoever has a question, because I was once that person asking questions, and I got rejected a lot. So I told myself I would never make someone else feel how I felt just trying to learn. Because the fact that somebody had built, for one, it takes courage to ask a question, because nobody wants to look foolish. So the fact that someone built up enough courage to be like, all right, I'm going to inbox him, seek out help, and seeking help in itself is a struggle for people, because everyone wants to think they can do it themselves. So I never wanted people to feel that rejection. So I'm definitely all for helping educate people. Like you said, I don't put myself out there for it, but whoever has hit me up, they've never been rejected or turned down. And I don't charge people, and people offer me money for my time, and I'm not in it for the money. What up, Q? Brother, bro. But yeah, so definitely I'm all for the education. Now would I do a Patreon? Probably not. should I be more educational in my YouTube videos that I've definitely been slacking on? Because I have been slacking on posting on YouTube. Yes. Hey, I'm still at about 200 videos now. But I've definitely been slacking on social media. I've kind of took a step back, faded in the background, but I'm always available on all social medias if anybody has any questions, or I'm always open to chat. I'm a people person, even though I'm introverted. I'm an introverted,
Right.
people skilled person.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us, I always say, are socially awkward in one way or the other, whether it's
I
being
am.
introverted or if it's like, selective. Like for me, I'm selective in the type of people that I want to hang out with. But in the reptile community, I don't care who you are, really. Like,
Right. Well, you
you
saw
like
me
a
at Tennessee.
reptile?
Right. Well, I tell you saw me. I did a 30-minute lap, came, sat down at Bob's table, took 15 minutes, recharged, did another 30-minute lap,
Yep.
came down, so even though it's out of my element, I'm in my element. I just have to take
Right.
time to recharge my social battery. But I love reptile shows. I love meeting new people. I love seeing old people. A lot of my best friends, and I don't have a lot of friends, came through the hobby. Like people
Right.
I talk to every single day, I met in the reptile hobby, and a lot of the times I only get to see them in person at reptile shows because we live in different parts of the country. So,
Yeah.
and then
We love
in
you
person,
too, Big Tank Hank.
yep. And then
We
in
made
person,
Big Tank Hank a reptile person. I think he's
hey,
going to transcend from fish into
okay, hey, that's a big step. No, but
Chip said, "Hey Reggie,
hello,
um, I,
hello.
Chip, I love Chip's channel. Like the whole King of the Hill thing. I
Mhm.
I love people who are doing their own thing in their own way
Mhm.
in this whole reptile. It's different. We didn't have this 20 years ago. Like it didn't exist that you have so many different personalities, different people just spewing knowledge in their own ways. We didn't have it at all. So
Mhm.
um, it is what it is. Like you love a reptile, we gotta just cling on to that, love each other in
Absolutely.
some kind of way.
We all have a common goal, a common
Yep.
interest, and just because we come from different backgrounds, cultures, or whatever, doesn't mean we don't have we have a common factor, and that's all that really matters. We love
That's all
animals, and
that matters.
we want to see the animals do the best.
I will say that the reptile community is the best group of people for me.
Hmm.
Like I want to be with.
Absolutely.
And all the time. It's a weekly, everyday thing. For me, and it's because not just the conversation about the reptiles, but what drew most of us to reptiles is a bond in that as well. Whether I always say, whether we want to admit it or not, something is wrong with all of us.
Absolutely. That's what makes us us. No one's
One
perfect.
way, shape, or form, something is wrong with all of us, and it drew us to reptiles, and it drew us together, and us together as one big urban jungle, literally is creating new ways and new light for our animals and for us to be
Oh,
prosperous in
it's
this.
made me a happy it's made me a happier person. Like
I believe it.
I'll be the first to admit that I was a self-aware depressed, and the reptile hobby, people in the industry helped me get out of that. So reptile shows, because I was the one like, I don't need to go to the show. Keisha from
Yep.
Splashback Reptile forced me to go to Tinley, forced me to go to Arlington, and then I made connections there that I would have never made if I didn't go. So now it's an annual thing. I have to go because it pulled me out of a dark place, and the reptile hobby was a big part of that. So I love the community.
Yeah, and I think that too. Even when you talk about like Splash Pack, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even know that a black female was breeding on that level. Because again, she's very, very quiet and humble.
She's quieter than me, and her
Yes,
collection is elite. She was just did a podcast yesterday with Brian,
I
but
saw it. So
she
I
got
watch her podcast because first of all, I love to hear her talk. Like I love the whole
the
accent.
accent.
But
Yep.
one day she was on might have been Key's podcast. But anyway, literally as I'm going on there, it was this female snake on Wolf Market that I wanted to buy. And she was like, I'm supposed to take that down. I'm supposed to take that down.
Yep.
But I think, again, if it wasn't for these platforms, we would know the Keishas exist. There's so many.
Brandolin from Texas Belle Exotics, another African
Exactly.
female breeder who's doing great things.
You just don't know. But I think that what I also would like to see, though, from my perspective, is that when I look at us, even if you look at Keisha, there's a whole lot of women in this reptile thing, but a whole lot of women don't follow the other women. We follow the Reggies, and if you look at my YouTube analytics, and I say this all the time, and Dominique's number one goal is to increase my female participation up to where the males is, because I said that if all the females that I know that are there, they even follow me on Instagram, were actually like in these platforms as well. First of all, we can do magic together. Absolutely. The other thing is that the hobby is female driven. That was something I said. Like I said, Q said a long time ago, it's more females in this than it is actually men.
Absolutely.
But we're not on the forefront. We will be more comfortable if we kind of unify a little bit more on that forefront. And one of my goals, like for the month of August, I'm trying to do all female presenters in August. To try to get that.
You should get Keisha on.
Say it again.
You should get Splashback Reptiles on.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that's she's already one I'm reaching out to for August.
I'll make sure she does it.
Thank you. I want an all female lineup for August. And we started out kind of doing that, like trying to have females, but then when you're trying to get people to be solidly there, it's the men who show up, and the men who are they understand your seriousness about your craft. Because I don't play about reptiles and cocktails. I tell people I am here. I don't care what happened. My nephew got rushed to the emergency room one day, and I had to be there. That's my favorite nephew. I got in the car, took all of this with me, and I turned to the nurse and said, at 1:00, I got to do a podcast. Where can I go and do you have internet? And we made it happen. It is something that I'm glad that I pursue. And I'll say to any person, everybody's pursuing different things. Like one of the girls I'm going to bring on in August, like she's doing her thing. She's doing her own little realm. She's actually from the bro group. But I want her to get exposure here, because I think it's important to broaden yourself out of one lane in order for you to be respected, well-rounded. And what she's doing is going to be magical. At the end of July, I'm actually going to have on Dino Reptile. So you know who that is.
Yep.
Again, humble, quiet, but what she's doing in the community is amazing. And as a woman, I need to use my platform to make sure that those women are exposed as well, because everybody is not as bold as I am. I get that. Right. But what you're doing is bold. Like from a business perspective, you are way ahead of where I am. I just opened a business account this year. I just started my branding 2 years ago, but you've been doing this for 5 or 10 years. Let's go. Let's go right here.
Absolutely.
Bringing them on in August. And I'm going to try to do that as much as I can. It's hard to say every other month, Reggie, because like I said, for whatever reason, maybe it's, the motherhood in it too. Women are way more busier, or they're not sticking to the plan. And I like to, as you know, plan my podcast out.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's important that we don't switch up dates, because there are people who are committing to this date because I scheduled them around these other dates. And I don't want to ever for people to feel like I'm inconsistent. So that's very, very important for me. But I'm definitely working on that for the month of August. Y'all going to see nothing but a whole women panel. And speaking of, boom, she's right there. So she said she agrees. So Keisha,
that's confirmation.
That's confirmation. I'm gonna send you a message. Just let me know your date in August. But
oh, you know what you could do? If you're going to Daytona, she's going to Daytona.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely in Daytona.
Y'all could do it live together from Daytona.
Let's see what Keisha doing in Daytona, because Actually, that is the best. That would be perfect to be exact. Because we're going to be a little bit more relaxed. I think. I know I am. I am way more relaxed in person. I know for everybody who met me in Tinley could not believe that I was that relaxed. In
Well,
person, I'm way more relaxed than I am.
I tell people all the time that social media, bro group Reggie is different than in person Reggie. Because bro group Reggie, you think I'd be wilding, but in person, I just be chilled out, ducked off.
And it's opposite for me. Like, so I am the wild one in person. And I like, and Tinley, I was drunk the whole time. I make that joke all the time. From the airport until the day we went back home, I was sipping the entire time. But I had the time of my life in Tinley. The time of my life. Absolutely. Everybody that I met was so much fun. Everything that I did was so much fun. I love the fact that I think for a lot of my husband, it actually made him a little bit more interested in what we're doing. And I don't know if you saw the video. He actually held ball pythons for my birthday.
I saw him loosen up from Friday to Sunday.
Right. It was a big difference.
Yep. Right? He was like, okay.
The Big D's party.
Yep. This night. Isn't too bad. I'm okay. I'm starting to like it a little bit.
They all right. But
right.
He's very
not too
very
crazy.
Much an introvert.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, married to me, he's very much an introvert. But I think that, again, meeting all the different facets of who we are, it was like, okay, these are real cool people. And he had a really good time as well. He'll be back. He'll be in Daytona. But let's see. Hey, Nameless Collector. And of course, Keys. Shout out to Keys Constrictors. If you guys missed the big giveaway, you got to go back and watch that video last night. I was this close to winning the bomb gift. This close. I was on bombs. My dog could get ready to buy and everything. Right. I was going to get. And AJ and Fred actually won it. So good for them. But damn.
Right. Damn. There'll definitely be more opportunities for sure.
It was so much fun. All right, so I'm going to get Reggie out of this allergic environment, but I'm going to ask this one last question. This year, have you had your greatest anticipated clutch, or is it yet to come?
So this is actually a late season. My season's about 3 months late. So I've only actually cut 2 clutches. I got 10 in the incubator, about 10 or 15 more to drop. But I have a chance. I got a couple anticipated clutches. I have a chance at visual DG Hypo Clowns. I have a chance at visual Monsoons. And I have a chance at visual Hypo Tri-Stripes. So those are my 3 most anticipated clutches, and the females are building properly. So within the next couple months, they should have their ovulations and give me clutches of eggs, and hopefully the odds are in my favor.
All right. I hope so too. AJ said, what AJ said, he glad he's won that. Keith said, yeah, Reggie's going to be in Daytona, yes. Right, Reggie?
I'll be in Daytona. I'll probably come down that Wednesday and leave that Monday. So
okay.
So a little while longer. Yep.
We're planning to do a bonfire or something on the beach one of those nights. So we'll definitely plan that out and hope everyone can come. And hey, May Squeeze, thank you for coming through. You can always watch the replay. That is great. So I want to say, Reggie, first of all, thank you. I know that it's tough to schedule. Thank you for making this happen. I'm very excited for just the whole ride that you're on, and I'm glad to personally, know you and be able to count on you through that ride. I know that Q was in the chat. I'm just going to say, hey Q, I'm okay. I hope you're okay. And just, keep doing what you're doing as well. And T Key said, dope. Yeah, we're going to have another good time. So Daytona is going to be the hot Tinley, because Tinley didn't give us the best weather when I was there, but we had a great time. I will no doubt we had a great time. And with that being said, I'm gonna get you out of that room. Get your little
Right.
on. I can relate with what you're going through. Thank God they're over there. They're in that
Lucky.
other direction right now. But I will continue to make you proud. And I hope you continue to see the growth.
Absolutely.
Um, and
Appreciate it.
hopefully, certainly, I'll have more than, just incubators with no eggs
Well, I definitely
this
look
year.
forward to buying animals back from you as you did from me. So I'm looking forward to getting some DG stuff
I
from you.
I will tell you this. I studied and you know this, I intentionally came in to be ahead of the game. So
Mm-hmm.
when I do start producing eggs, it's
It's
going
gonna
to
be
be
crazy.
it's going to be some great odds, some good chances, some nice
Mhm.
stuff. I finally actually got a visual desert ghost that I have to, just put in the
Congratulations.
possession from Ozzy. It's a possible super orange ring. We figured out desert
Mhm.
ghost, definitely orange rings, desert ghost, het pied, female, and I wanted to get the female.
Absolutely.
So again, when you talk about how at first you thought you was only going to spend this kind of money, then you said, "Oh no, I really want to spend this kind of money for this reason."
Yep.
My mindset elevated to a whole
Yep.
nother level. But even with, like I said, the snakes I got from you, the hets were very important to me. I will tell you, Spice, I can't wait to pair her. So, I, something about the pastel in her is just different. You know how sometimes a snake just has a brighter hue? She's a beautiful girl.
Yes. So I just picked up this female not too long ago, but she's a pastel desert ghost het clown. She's
Oh,
about
where did you get her
800
from?
grams. I got it from Kyle Baker at Great Lakes Horticulture. He bought the father of my DG clown and tossing her in for a little partial trade. So can't go wrong with a visual desert ghost het clown female.
Well, I knew I had to have that to pair her to your hat. Because
Yep.
remember, I think it was you who
Mm-hmm.
told me the best thing to do was to pair it with a visual. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely wanted to get, and I still want a male. I still have to get a male visual desert ghost. But as you know, desert ghosts are costing a lot right now, so I gotta kind of, pace that
Mm-hmm.
out, and
Absolutely.
hopefully
Right.
create my own.
Hey, that's what I'm doing. Like I live on hets. Like hets have saved me so much money, but put me so far ahead of the game.
Yeah, I got a crazy hat from Aussie, and I can't even remember all, but I know it's Cypress, het hypo, het ultramel, het
It's probably
desert
pie.
ghost,
Mm-hmm.
and het pie. Yeah, it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's like five hets in this one, and I can't wait to grow up. And this little girl eats; she's greedy, so she's gonna grow fast. I have never
Mm-hmm.
seen a baby snake who wants to eat every single time you open the daggone drawer. I'm like, you can't be hungry. You're not fooling me.
Right.
But I can't wait till she gets to a specific size. Oh, one more question before I left, because I am having this. What is the longest you ever have a male go off feed?
Uh, I had a male go 11 months.
See, I this one is at 11 months.
Mm-hmm. So
So
have you
when should I
tried like
panic?
does the body look like he's losing weight or is he staying solid?
So I started weighing him now. He looks fine. He's very active, and that's the thing. Like he's not like lethargic or anything. If I take him out, he's very active. So I started weighing him about 3 weeks ago, just to monitor to see if he loses weight.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever used the Da Vinci stuff on any of your animals?
I have not, but Keisha uses Da Vinci on all her animals, so she's one to
Okay.
reach out and ask about that. But
Okay.
it works for her. Normally,
Okay.
I just switch up the tub. I have clear tubs, dark clubs, yeah, tubs. I use paper, cocoa. I try and switch up the environment, move the level of the shelf, switch up the prey item, live, frozen, maybe pre-killed. But my tri-stripe, when he first hatched out, he didn't eat for the first 3 months after hatching out. And I
Oh,
tried to
okay.
force feed him. He'd regurgitate, but then one day he just took it and they never looked back, and he's never missed a meal since. But ball pythons can be tricky. So just as long as the body still looks good and it doesn't look like you're seeing ribs and he's concaved in the middle and, the jaw isn't protruding like that, he should be good. They'll typically eat when they want to eat. I mean, just as long as there's no respiratory infection or anything like that, ball
Yeah, at
pythons.
first I thought it was just that he wanted to stay in breed mode. So when I got him, I actually, he locked immediately with my pie girl.
Mm-hmm.
But then he didn't eat again in between. I didn't want to have him have his, I'm just thinking like humans, you need your energy to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they will breed themselves to death if you let them. They will. Yes. For sure.
But he had no problem with he had no problem with locking with her, like almost instantly. And I'm like, okay, but you can't, I'm not going to just have you breeding and you're not eating. So,
exactly.
They were laughing at me the other day because I had him and I was massaging him. And they was like, why in the world are you massaging that part of his body? I'm like, I'm trying to stimulate him to eat.
Yep, get him back in the mode of food, for sure. Yeah, but if he looks good, then I really wouldn't worry about it. Now, once he starts, if he ever starts seeing ribs and stuff like that, then maybe get worried. But Da Vinci, Keisha uses, so I would definitely reach out to her.
Okay, I will definitely do that. All right, so that's all I have. I appreciate you, Reggie. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Next week, we have Antoine from High Desert. So as y'all already know, that might be a good one to drink for because he's a whole fool. So we're going to laugh. He'll tell us about, he's in Anaheim, so
I think he has a table at Anaheim, so.
Yeah, so he's going to share his whole Anaheim experience, and I think this might be his first show. Yeah, so definitely we'll do that. Hopefully, I can make it up to Pennsylvania today. I'm going to try to see how I can whip that up real fast. But with that being said, it's been awesome as always. Keep doing your thing. We're watching.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity for you sharing your platform and the new people that I've reached out to, and I've learned from you today, and hopefully some people have learned from the both of us. So again, the platform that you have provided for others to come on and speak their truth is phenomenal, and keep doing great.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, we're out. Peace. Feel better, Reggie. Get out that room. All right. Bye.
See ya.